Hi everyone, my name is Mark. In this video we're going to create customizable and responsive product cards in Figma. And we do it just in 15 minutes, so UT even won't have time to get cold. Let's start! So recently Figma updated interface. If you have old one, click on a question mark and choose option Use New UI. I create frames for a product page. I use hotkey F to start with the desktop option. Don't forget to give a frame a proper name. Let's call it product page. Like many other designs, this one begins with the creation of a grid. In Figma, the grid acts as a backbone of our design, a kind of skeleton. The size of your elements and the spacing between them will be determined by how you structure it. Feel free to adapt this to your own preferences. You don't need to follow my approach exactly. Use a grid what works best for you. I use a wide grid as it offers more space for content and reflects the latest trends in webshop design. Now we will create responsive product cards. I already prepared some images for them. Be sure that all the images have the same size to avoid additional tuning. Next, we need to ensure the images are set to fit mode. Time to move our chair to the page. I am using a grid to define the correct size of our card. Placing 4 cards in a row will work perfectly, so I arrange them into 3 columns. When creating cards, there is no need to use rectangle tool for a background. Simply enable the fill option in After Layout, it's much faster. I think cards alone would look boring, so I added a banner to make the design more engaging. Additionally, we need to include a title to improve the structure of a page. Before building our card component, we first need to prepare the nested elements that make our card more customizable. I prepared some icons in advance. You can find more icons in Figma community or easily download them from other online sources. This heart icon is used to add products to your favorites. It has only 2 states, default and selected. When a component has just 2 states, it's best to use true and false values, as this allows us to toggle between them easily. For the property name, I will use add to favorite. I will set the heart icon with the border to false and the fill option to true. I also want the component to be more visible, so I enable a background fill in the After Layout. 5 stars are typically used to indicate ratings, so we start by collecting a few copies. Let's apply After Layout to ensure equal spacing between the stars. Then create 4 copies, so we have a total of 5 components. The first component doesn't need any changes and will represent the 5-star rating. For the other components, we repaint the stars gray to indicate lower ratings. I've already named all the components and you can do the same. Now we can combine them into a component set. Since everything is already named, no further customization is needed. The component is now ready, so we can verify that everything is functioning correctly. We will use this icon to create a button. If your icon breaks apart after adding After Layout, group it together first to fix. Feel free to experiment with the color and size as you like. I try to avoid using pure black for elements, it's better to go with a slightly lighter shade for a softer look. The process is similar to creating the card. Apply After Layout and enable the fill option. A button usually has 3 states, default, hover and click. We'll create these 3 versions and turn them into a component set. The next component I added is a product page to indicate different product groups. Creating this component is similar to the previous one, so I won't go through the entire process again. We finished creating the nested component, so now we can start working on a product card. The first thing I added there is the price and the product name. Since the price is a key factor in a purchasing decision, it's usually highlighted in a bold text, so we also do that. Let's combine the product card with our components. I recommend using afterlayout consistently throughout the design process. It may take some time to get used to, but trust me, once you do it, you won't be able to work without. It will make the process much easier and more enjoyable. Now it's time to work on the top part of our product card. Let's place the Add to Favorites icon on the right. If you look at various online stores, you notice that it's usually positioned on the right. Most users are used to finding there, so we're creating a familiar interface for them. Next, we need to match the top section with the card by creating one more after layout. Press Ctrl X to cut the element. Now let's select our card and paste it inside. Select Fill and the element will automatically fill available space. Let's add padding to the left and right sides and connect the top section to the main card. I'd like to emphasize the top of a product card, so I add a 1 pixel wide border to the bottom. I'd like to round the corner of the card slightly to give a cleaner look. Let's start by rounding the top section of the card. We can do this by selecting the appropriate option in the corner radius setting. Next, let's round the image part, but only from the bottom side. Add the component we created early. Click on Add Properties and select the Nested option. Check how it works. Okay, looks fine. We've done a great job so far, but I'd like to add a few more customization. Let's include an option to hide the button. This can be useful for hover effects or creating different card versions. To do this, we need to select Boolean property and apply it to the button. We will also add the option to change the product name. To do this, select the text property and name it product name. For the value, enter the name of the card. Be careful, if you leave this field empty, the name might disappear when you apply value to a text. I will apply the same Boolean property to a star. Let's not stop here, since you already know how to do this. We're almost there. The last step is to replace the picture on our card with a component so we can easily swap it out. As you can see, I've just selected all the pictures and turned them into a set of components. We also need to review the names of all the components individually. It's always satisfying when everything is named correctly and consistently. I think it's better to keep all the components in one place, so everything is easily accessible. Now let's copy the picture and paste it with a replacement. The shortcut is Ctrl-Shift-V. Since our picture is now a component, we can add it as a nested item. Alright, our card is ready. Now let's move it to the other component. Always make sure the components are named correctly, otherwise it can lead to confusion if the number of components increases. Now we can finalize the page design. Expand the cards by duplicating them once, then repeat the action using Ctrl-D shortcut. By the way, if you want to see a list of all shortcuts, press Ctrl-Shift ? I think this video shows how a shortcut can make your work much easier. Use the panel on the right to update the pictures and names in the component. Now to make the design responsive, make sure that all the objects on the page use after layout. Don't forget to apply it to the text as well. Now I can apply after layout to the page itself. Our elements are pressed to the left edge because of incorrect settings. We need to change the after layout mode to fill container, then add horizontal paddings and align them to the left. The value of the horizontal paddings will depend on your grid. For me, it's 115 pixels. There is no need to apply horizontal paddings to the image on top, as it should remain full screen. Before sizing our cards, we need to set minimum width, so they won't shrink below. The standard frame size for the mobile version is 375, and we need to account for a 20 pixel margin on each side. Therefore, I will set the minimum width to 335 pixels. Now for each card we need to apply the fill mode to ensure they resize with the main container. For the main container, we change the layout mode to wrap. It's working really well. The cards automatically move to the second row as planned, which makes it easy to create responsive design. Now we can adapt the design for tablets and fonts. For responsive design, it's best to target to the smallest screen sizes. In modern condition, this would be 1024 by 768 for tablets and 375 by 812 for fonts. For real project, don't forget to show the tablet's landscape orientation as well. Currently we are only showing the portrait orientation. As you can see, we also need to adjust the layout because there is much less space on mobile devices. 20 pixels would be great. That's it. We create some really cool, customizable and responsive product cards in Figma. Now you're all set to build your own product pages. You can download Figma file using the link in the description. Thanks for watching and see you next time.